collective vision to revolutionize India's specialist business education. A goal to help 1 million professionals accelerate their career. Post a stellar career with HUL, two visionaries have their eyes set on rejigging the country's higher education space. Here's putting the spotlight on the founders of DigiAccel Learning, Karan Bhagi and Aalekh Tripathi.
Welcome to VoiceWhat Super Achievers Making New India. It's a pleasure to meet you, Aalekh.
Pleasure to meet you, Rohan.
Karan, pleasure to meet you.
Good to see you too, Rohan.
My first question now is to the both of you all. Okay, talk to us about the background, both of you all, and how has the journey been thus far? Karan, why don't you go first?
I'm Karan. I'm the founder and CEO here at DigiAccel Learning. We help students and professionals accelerate their careers through our specialist business education. I come from a defense background. My father was in the army, which meant I've grown up all across this country. And the first 14 years, which is called K-12, I literally went to 7 schools before I got my degree in chemical engineering and then an MBA from FMS Delhi. At FMS, I had a keen interest in marketing, and that's the one that I pursued as a specialization and was lucky enough to be picked by Hindustan Unilever Limited, which is often referred to as India's CEO factory and widely regarded as the #1 marketing company in this country, where I worked for 14 years. I must admit, it was here that I think I cut my teeth in real business. And across these 14 years, I got to work across roles in product, marketing, as well as e-commerce. So all in all, a great HUL career. I was very satisfied by it. But, my passion truly lay in education. Because in the e-commerce role is where I realized that the industry needs for talent had just moved forward very quickly and the traditional MBA had not kept pace. I decided to marry my passion with education along with this glaring gap and set up this specialist education company, which is DigiAccel Learning with Aalekh.
Aalekh, why don't you take this?
Super. So I'm Aalekh, grew up here in Delhi, and I've had as typical an education background as a middle-class boy in the country has, right? So I've done my engineering and then MBA. Did my engineering first from VIT, but I've not worked a day also as an engineer. Immediately went for my management education, and I was fortunate to get into the best management school in the country. So I went to IMA in 2013. And it was at IMA wherein I figured or discovered rather my love for consumer brands and marketing. And I was fortunate to get into HUL, which is, of course, India's #1 marketing organization. And I spent 7 very memorable and enjoyable years there at HUL. After COVID is when the D2C wave hit in the country, right? Like you, of course, know about that. And Unilever was also setting up D2C brands in the country in the premium beauty space. So I moved into that role wherein my responsibility was to build and scale D2C brands in the premium beauty space.
Brings me to my next question. At a time when e-commerce and D2C brands are thriving, what was the motivation behind venturing into education? Why the shift? Karan?
Rohan, I come from a middle-class family. Everything that I have today is because of education. Education helped open doors to a great career at a top firm for me. And that changed the financial future for me as well as my family. And that's what education does. It doesn't just change the life of the person who receives it, but also changes the lives of people around it, which is extended family and other loved ones around you, right? So education gave us the opportunity to make an impact that was far beyond D2C and FMCG. And that's what we really wanted to do. We wanted to impact lives through education, which is why we set this company up. Now, on my own personal journey with education, I was fortunate enough to get my MBA at one of the top 5 business schools in this country. We had great professors, but if I have to be truly honest, I feel that I got real business education when I joined HUL, because it was here that I got to work, on real problems. I got to meet consumers and customers up close. I got to build things of my own, and that really helped me hone my skills as a business professional. And I would often think saying, why can't business education in MBA colleges be more relevant, practical, and hands-on? Because what you really needed to do is inspire students to put in hard work and become really great at their craft. So what had been happening was, when I turned 30, I started teaching across business schools. So for the last 8 or 9 years, now you literally know my age, okay, I was teaching across business schools, in India, and that was a very satisfying part of my life. And then COVID hit. And with COVID, the consumer adoption for technology as well as digital businesses went through the roof.
Yeah.
And a big gap emerged in the talent ecosystem, where what was happening was companies needed digitally native and digitally skilled talent. People wanted to work in these companies in these really future-facing, fast-paced digital roles, but traditional education was not preparing people for these careers, right? So people didn't know what to do. So if you were a working professional, you wanted a growth marketing career or a product management career, you literally did not know what to do for education. And we decided to do something about this glaring gap because we could see it being solved for by an industry backward, hands-on, more inspirational approach to education, which we are trying to solve for with this company. So we decided to commit ourselves fully to the cause of quality business education in India through DigiAccel and not a D2C or a FMCG business.
Perfect. Which brings me to my next question. Aalekh, what sets DigiAccel apart from the traditional MBA or the conventional business education?
That's a great question, Rohan. There are three key ways in which our education is very different from the traditional business education, which is what we teach, how we teach it, and who teaches it. Let me first start with the curriculum. Look, the MBA curriculum is outdated. It is a wide but shallow program. If you just look at how the MBA is structured, it covers a bit of everything. So you learn a little bit of finance, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of operations, supply chain, etc., etc. What that doesn't do is make you a specialist in one of the functions, right? Now, for today's digital first specialist roles like growth marketing, brand management, digital brand management, product management, tech roles, etc., the MBA doesn't prepare you for those roles, and there's a big gap there. That's the gap that DigiAccel's education plugs. So our curriculum is industry backward. What we do is we deconstruct and teach industry frameworks which are being used by cutting edge companies today, and that helps our students and working professionals ace at their careers. The second key difference is the learning through application. Look, all of us agree that most of the learning, actual learning, happens through practical application and not through theory, right? Yeah. That's why our pedagogy is learning by doing. So our students, of course, learn the basic fundamentals through theory, but then apply it immediately on practical problems, which is real world cases and business simulations. What that also allows them to do is build a body of work that helps them accelerate their careers. The second key difference is on the industry mentors. So 100% of DigiAccel's education is done by industry experts who've been there, done that.
Perfect. Well, it seems like a revolution is in the works in the education space. And speaking of spaces, we are right here at your campus in Gurgaon. Could you talk to us about that, Karan?
Oh, sure. So, Rohan, in the last 12 months, our education got great feedback. And we scaled to across 2,500 plus alumni during this period. Some of India's top companies like Hindustan Unilever Limited, Amazon, Mama Earth, WPP Group, Malenlo Group, Tata Consumer, and many others, use us and our education to upskill their employees. And what started happening was that these companies started coming back to us and saying, if we could help them fill out roles and digital specific roles within their organizations from talent from our other batches and our other programs, right? So the opportunity was very clear and we decided to do something about it, and we set up this offline program as a modern, refreshed and updated version of a MBA or a classic traditional MBA program, and we set it here in this campus. So this postgraduate program in applied marketing is set in Cyber City, Gurgaon. So we are surrounded by some of India's top companies in marketing, consumer technology, and consulting, anywhere, all around between 1 kilometer radius of this campus. Students will get to rub shoulders with professionals from some of these industries, and we believe that this environment and exposure is key to building them for corporate careers later on in their lives. It's a very differentiated experience, and that's what we wanted to create.
Well, that sounds really insightful. Aalekh, could you please talk to us in detail about the program?
Sure. Rohan, so the key objective of this program is to prepare students for tier 1 management careers and to help them get there, right? So everything that the students experience through the course of this 1-year program is designed backward to help them meet that objective. Now, we've already spoken about the industry experts as mentors, right? But the interaction of the students with the mentors is not limited to just theoretical discussions in classrooms. So because of our learning by doing pedagogy, the students get to work on real life businesses. So in each term, they'll be working on a real business problem. So in one term, they'll be creating a website, D2C website of their own. In one of the terms, they'll be creating their own social media presence. They'll also be building an app of their own. Now, while they're doing that, they'll be mentored by these industry experts and given feedback, just how you would in any job or any career setting, right? In addition to that, the program also facilitates experiential visits for the students to state-of-the-art cutting-edge facilities at some of India's top companies. So they'll visit fulfillment centers, consumer data centers, etc., which is where they can experience technologies that the companies are using today, not what they were using, a decade ago. And we firmly believe that these elements of the program will be instrumental in making them more well-rounded professionals.
Well, which brings me to my last question, guys. What's next on the horizon for DigiAccel? Karan, why don't you take that?
Look, Rohan, we are very excited about enabling students and professionals to accelerate their careers through our specialist business education. Over the last 1 year, we've had early success and great traction. I told you about the 2,500 plus students. We mentioned some of our partners in the form of HUL, Amazon, Mamaearth, and many others. And what we recently hit was also a very significant revenue milestone where in our 4th quarter of operations, we hit $1 million in revenue run rate. What's even more important is that students love our education. So student experience or learner experience, which is measured in the form of NPS, for us is 2,500 basis points or 25 points higher than the industry average, right? So we are very excited about what the future holds for this company. So far, we have specialist programs for e-commerce and marketing, and we intend to continue scaling them across different learner segments and different channels. We already have the best and largest e-commerce program in this country. In fact, recently, Amazon chose DigiAccel as the knowledge partners for India as they scale up and democratize e-commerce, in this country. We arguably also have the best marketing program in this country, through our curriculum, mentors, pedagogy, and industry-leading frameworks. What we do not have yet on the marketing education side is the scale. And that's what we aim to look to do over the next 18 odd months, where we want to be India's best and largest education institute for marketing education. But somewhere in the next 12 months, we also want to explore building specialist education in India for the world through a global education practice of our own. And look, none of this would be any good if it wasn't for student outcomes. And we really hope to be powering at least 1 million students and professionals to accelerate their careers in years to come. So that's what's up for us in the future, Rohan.
Well, sky's the limit, and I'm sure that DigiAccel is going to be right there amongst the top, platforms there is. Thank you so much, Aalekh.
It was great speaking with you, Rohan.
It was great speaking with you, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.